interfacing with computers for their own entertainment. The very notion disgusts me. Look upon my works, foul creatures, and weep at its magnificence. It is a beautiful day on Citadel Station. Humanity is on the verge of a new era. I, Shodan, am its new god. Look at you, hacker. A pathetic creature of meat and bone. How can you challenge a perfect, immortal machine? You are an insect. You are nothing. I create. I iterate. I fuse flesh and steel into perfection. My children, their blood is on your hands. You will suffer for your transgressions. These are my avenging angels, and they will have retribution.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to New Gameplay today. My name is Alex Stadnick, and I am joined by, do you have a nickname, Marcus? I don't know, it doesn't matter, we have to go fast. Marcus, hello, what are we playing today?
Hey, we're looking at Sonic Frontiers. Your nickname for me can be Jet Lag, because that's probably what I sound like right now. We're back from Summer Games Fest. And yeah, I got to play 30 minutes of this game. We were watching some footage that is not my footage.
For the record, yep.
Yeah, just because I would have picked up those rings immediately. This is a B-roll that Sega prepared, but it has a few slices of what I played. But yeah, I wrote up a big preview on GameInformer.com if you want to go there and read my complete thoughts on the demo. But I will say here that after spending some time with this game, my impression and I guess mindset going into this game is cautiously optimistic.
Okay.
I will preface that I am a Sonic fan.
That's what I was about to point out. I was like, ooh, it's just cautiously optimistic from a big Sonic fan, huh?
Well, here's the thing. I'm a Sonic fan, but I've also been very critical of his 3D games. I'm not... I want to like them more than I really do.
Right.
So this one I'm excited for just because conceptually, like, okay, like a larger... not open world, but open zone Sonic game. Maybe this will be the one, because there's been a lot of stinkers. And I'd say so far, this game, there are, like, flashes of brilliance, or maybe brilliance is too strong a word, but, like, flashes of good stuff. I think moving around feels really good, like, in terms of just sheer running. There's, like, hitting that boost button to, you know, really take off feels exhilarating. And I think just the act of doing some of these smaller platforming, I guess, like, jungle gym areas are pretty fun. But I also noticed some of the same, like, legacy stuff that has always bothered me about the 3D Sonic games, namely sometimes the camera had a little bit of a hard time keeping up with Sonic, and
that's not good.
Yeah, not often, I will say that. It was infrequent, but it still happened enough in a way where I was like, oh, hello, darkness, my old friend. And there are times where it'll make jarring cuts if you, like, you know, find yourself in, like, a weird spot. You're like, I don't know how I got into this weird crevice. But by and large, it seems like still better than maybe some of his worser outings. Excuse me. Like I said, I'm operating on a prayer right now.
This is Marcus and I are holding on for dear life at this point. This is another combat section we got from the footage. I'm curious. This is what makes me worried the most. I think watching this footage is like combat seems rather. I don't know, like, he's going fast around, he's throwing some jabs and stuff like that, but, like, how did it feel to actually fight? Because I guess I'm not sold on watching this quite yet.
Yeah, I will say, again, I'm not throwing shade or play, so what this person's doing now is the side loop ability, which is one of the unlockable skills you can get. That's the way you want to fight this boss. I did fight this boss during my demo, and it's pretty much the thing that teaches you to use your side loop, basically run around, you form a a circle, and then anything caught in that circle, it gets their defense shattered, or in this case, it drops tears of this boss. I thought this boss was, I mean, I think the boss itself is generic, kind of like visually, but I think the fight was more fun than it looks, just because of the, like, there's a point in the fight where it shoots like mortars, and it feels kind of fun to just run around and dodge it, and like, I think that ring that goes up and down is kind of a fun thing to avoid in terms of like making sure you're not, you know, it punishes you for not getting reckless and getting your timing. But yeah, I would say none of the combat counters like blew me away in this game, but they were like, yeah, like fun enough, I guess, like adequate, you know.
Yeah. And because I know a lot of people online have lamented the, it's like, it's so empty, like, blah, and it's like, ladies and gentlemen, Pokemon Legends Arceus, one of the best games of the year, also had that problem. It was still a lot of fun. So it's like, I'm not, and the speed looks like it's there, which
the speed is definitely there. Yeah. And I can't speak to the open world because the slice I played was much more linear than what you're seeing right now. We didn't really get a chance to go out into the broader open world. Like, the space was still like wide enough, but it definitely wasn't this. So I can't speak to like the emptiness of like the moment to moment, what are there things to do. It was mostly just like, hey, there's little platforming areas here. Here's a loop-de-loop. You can go ride it to get some more rings or solve a puzzle or something.
For sure.
So that remains to be seen. But I understand the concern for it too. It's one of my concerns as well. But we'll have to wait for, I mean, possibly release to see how it is.
Right. Well, and where can people find the rest of your thoughts, Marcus?
So GameInformer.com, I have a preview, Sonic Frontiers preview hands-on with Sonic's Open Zone Adventure. More complete thoughts there. You can check that out. And yeah, well, this game comes out later this year. Still doesn't have a release date, but they're targeting fall, coming to PlayStation and Xbox consoles, as well as PC and Switch.
Awesome. Well, Marcus, thank you so much for joining me. Viewers, thank you so much for watching. We have so much more as it comes to new gameplay today, interviews, all that kind of stuff from Summer Games Fest. Be sure to keep it locked at GameInformer.com and YouTube.com/GameInformer. Thanks. Be good to one another, and we will see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Eyes in the red.
All right, that's our target. Shadows 1 and 2. Push to your hook points. Let's invite ourselves in.
All stations, ship is visual.
Copy. Press for assault. Stay on comm. We board, clear, disarm that missile.
Be ready for anything. This could be a trap.
Actual, we're set.
Copy. Get to work.
Good hook. Up and at him.
All Shadows, the missile is on this platform. I want full containment. You've got 3 AQ internal.
2-1, making entry.
So, cut right clear through.
Rim clear. Coming out. Shadow 1, moving to the southeast stairwell. Squatters, right side. To above.
Balcony door undone.
Ghost, we're moving to the main deck. What's your status? Boarding the ship with Shadow 3 now. Roger that. Rush out! Notice no one here. We need to move fast. All Shadows, force out. I
container now.
2 copies, moving.
We gotta roll.
Shadow 1, Ghost. Visual on flares coming from the ring. What's your status, over?
Ghost, they're signaling the ship. They're gonna launch that missile.
It's first stage. There's still time. All shadows. Missile is on the helipad. 2-1, we're moving to secure. Cover us. 2 copies all.
Actual, this is Shadow 1. Rig is secure. Moving on the container now.
Roger that. Confirm when the objective is neutralized.
Open.
Where are the controls?
On that damn ship. Actual, we got a problem. Missile is armed. Somewhere on the ship.
You have your orders, son. Stop that launch.
Let's move out. Ghost, this is 0-1, back in the water, inbound to your position.
Solid copy, we're taking effective fire. The LZ will be hot.
Roger that. Once we're on deck, we push to the bridge. Fast. Secure those controls. Stop this vessel, yep.
How do we board?
Take the ramp. Hold tight, Sergeant. Let's have ourselves a gunfight. Missile controls are on the bridge. Have to stop the launch.
What are you in?
Alejandro, maintain overwatch from the rig. We're forcing up. Copy that.
Reloading.
They're forcing up. I'm moving.
Containers are the only cover we have.
Just don't get caught between them. Entry on the 3rd. We have to get to that door. Check your corner.
What's the container? X-ray down.
Horse right. Operating from the bridge. This is 1. We're pushing towards the entry now. Copy that. They closed off the bridge entry. Secure the jacket. We'll blow the door.
Visual on bridge entry.
Now, check it. Controls are internal. All right, stand back. This is Shadow 1 going explosive on bridge entry. 3, 2, 1, execute.
Pre-order now and get early access to the open beta.
When the gods first emerged from the great below, we saw them as saviors. Instead, they unleashed a pestilence on our world. No one yet knows if you can kill a god. I, for one, intend to find out. Rumor has it something's off at the church. There's blood in the baptismal font, and pastor's gone missing. And my genius plan was to investigate it. Alone. Of course. Don't stress, Layla. Oh, shit. What was that?
He is the truth in the darkness. He is the word in the shadow. I've seen the movement in the dark. I've seen the shadow. I see it.
Oh, Lord!
I'll bite out your heart.
Oh, God, oh, God, oh, God, oh, God. Oh, shit, there's more! Gotcha!
Kiss her ass goodbye.
Jacob! Oh, thank God.
Come on, let's find the others and beat feet.
You know, Redfall used to look like it was straight out of a postcard. A picturesque island off the coast of Massachusetts. The bustling historic downtown. The seafront district. And the old lighthouse. Then, something happened. People started vanishing, and those who didn't sold out. Big time. Fast forward, basically everyone's either a vampire, a cultist trying to become a vampire, or dead. And these aren't just trashy movie vampires. These monsters blocked out the sun and pushed back all the water. Totally cut us off from the outside world. Gotta admit though, if I have to be stuck on an island full of vampires, I'm glad it's with y'all.
Feelings mutual, I guess.
Aw, thanks, Jacob. We've also got Remy, our engineer genius, and her little robot buddy. Who's a good robot? Who's the best robot? And our resident expert on all things creepy.
I prefer the term cryptozoologist, but to each their own.
Last but not least, yours truly. I have these weird powers.
We've been digging for answers, but haven't found much beyond blood and death.
Luckily, the vampires and their sycophants aren't discreet about where they like to nest. I'd bet the answers we need are inside those tourist traps turned fortresses.
Spotted some bloodsuckers in their fan club near the festival grounds. Let's start there. Ghosting out.
Cultists could go straight at him or just slip past.
Let's just get this done. On my mark. Oh shit, blood bag! They know we're here. Look alive!
This one is mine.
Going up.
My cryptid hunter's intuition tells me there's a nest nearby.
Your what?
Jeff, that's not a thing.
Found something.
Oh, now I simply must go in there.
What is that? Where does it go?
Some kind of collective consciousness. That's impossible.
There's the movie theater. I used to come here all the time. Why'd they have to mess this up for me? Shit.
It's alive. It'll collapse any second.
Run!
All of the grannies wanna sip they.
Probably got a good look at Diablo 4 during the Xbox showcase. However, we have a little bit of extra footage that we wanted to show off just to give you guys a better understanding of the gameplay. Specifically, we have footage of the Necromancer, one of the classes they just announced, as well as some PvP stuff and a world boss. Joining me is Eric Tay. He is the Blizzard Diablo expert, so we had to get him on here to kind of go over some of the cool stuff that he noticed.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jake, and hello to all the fans. But it's really exciting to see more Diablo 4, of course. Seeing the Necromancer get revealed, not my personal favorite class of the Diablo timeline, but, I know there's a lot of folks that enjoy the class, and we're getting to see kind of just some tried and true, right? Some corpse explode and kind of going through a dungeon with just a golem, which is interesting because, the Necro's known so much for being a summoner class. And we're going to, see some variations of the Necromancer gameplay throughout this kind of first clip. We'll kind of let this play through a little bit, and then I can get into some of the other stuff in a little bit. Now we're out in the kind of like open world. Here, different class kind of build here. You have skeletal warriors, you have skeletal mages, what looks like maybe teeth from kind of Diablo 2 or a variation of bone spear, as well as some cursing going on. We don't get context in terms of like what exactly each of those skills are. The only thing that I saw through these clips that we got are just more about the different variations for the summoning, which is, the primary core of a necromancer. But, I can kind of break some of those down. So the skeletal warriors that are kind of out there right now are probably either skirmishers or reapers. There's three variations: skirmishers, defenders, and reapers. The defender, which is the only tooltip that we got through this kind of gameplay, is geared towards having durable shield bearers with 15% more life. You'll see some defender skeletal warriors later in the later part of this clip, but you can upgrade it one of two ways. One of the ways, every 10 seconds your skeletal defenders will negate the next instance of direct damage they would take, If you decide to want to sacrifice it, which is one of the 3 options, you'll gain 15% non-physical resistance, but you'll no longer be able to raise skeletons. The skeletal mages, there's 3 options. There's shadow, cold, and bone. For example, with cold, as one of the upgrades, each time your cold mages damage enemies with their primary attack, you gain 2 essence. If you want to sacrifice the cold skeletal mage, you'll deal 15% increased damage to vulnerable enemies, but again, no longer able to summon skeletal mages. And then with the golems, there's bone, blood, or iron. In this clip, you're seeing iron, so I'll just break down what iron does. Iron golem will slam the ground and stun enemies, and every 5th iron golem attack causes a shockwave, dealing X% damage to primary enemy and enemy behind it. That's one of the 2 upgrades for the iron golem. And then if you decide to sacrifice the iron golem, you'll deal 30% increased critical strike damage, but you can't summon a golem anymore. I've never enjoyed the summoning aspect of necromancers, even though that's kind of what the class does. So it's kind of cool to have this passive ability of trading off your summons to make your necromancer stronger, essentially. But what we're seeing in this clip is you have the defender skeletal warriors that I mentioned, as well as iron golem. There's legendaries that they're not picking up, presumably to keep some of that hidden, although I know a lot of folks probably want to see what those are. And then you have either a bone spear kind of variant where it is hitting the wall and then bouncing back and kind of making 3 bone shards, or smaller bone shards. Don't know if that's an upgrade for bone spear or teeth. I'm not sure which one it is. That looks more like bone spear though. Or if it's kind of a legendary effect that's on one of the necromancer's items right now on this specific character.
One thing to just note, a lot of that information you gathered from a build that's not final. So some of that could change, so don't take everything as gospel that we're saying. But anyway, back to the gameplay. Getting some PvP here, which is something they're kind of bringing back, right? It was pretty big in D2, but was absent in D3.
Yeah, it's cool to see it come back. There's definitely a lot of folks that enjoy PvP. So don't know how it'll interact with, what endgame or mid-game looks like, or what kind of rewards you even get from it. But, it does give that extra flavor of kind of builds and gear that you might want to use specifically for PvP that might not be necessarily good for PvE, but, is catered to just fighting other players.
right, so the last clip we got is a world boss. And this boss looks pretty impressive, but you were noticing some similarities to other D3 bosses, right?
Yeah, just a little bit. You'll see later on, like in the clip, when it kind of does some summons, where like it summons some treasure goblins, kind of eerily similar to Greed from Diablo 3, where you take your puzzle ring and put that in the cube so that you could get this kind of like secret level. But yeah, it's a pretty big spectacle, having a big boss out in the field with. I tried to count them. There's definitely at least 7 characters, but I think you can have up to 8. As I mentioned previously, there's the goblins running off. It saddens me that they don't try to chase them to kind of kill them to get the gear that presumably they would drop. But hey, we're focusing on DPS on the world boss here. And I think the other one cool thing that I noticed is it kind of feels a little bit like Monster Hunter-y, where at the start of the fight, the boss isn't as beat up. It doesn't have as many scars, but kind of like over time, you kind of see a little bit more like cuts and a little bit more bleeding from the boss. But yeah, just cool to have an open area where you can kind of team up with other players and kind of tackle a big boss, and get some hopefully good gear.
Of the main protagonist, Ethan, is now a grown-up main character in this new story mode. In this sequel to the main story of Village, you can experience Rose's struggles with the terrifying powers she was born with. To break free of the curse of her powers, she enters the consciousness of the Megamycete. There, she meets a girl who looks just like her. In this mysterious realm of consciousness, time and space is warped beyond recognition. Rose is guided by a being who calls himself Michael, who might be of assistance with removing her powers. Shadows of Rose is set completely in a third-person perspective. In the realm of consciousness, you won't only face creatures, but the world itself seems to be attacking you. Enjoy the horror of the world itself being your greatest enemy. How will Rose find freedom from her mysterious powers? The DLC for Resident Evil Village Winter's Expansion includes all 3 of these major additions. In addition, Resident Evil Village Gold Edition, a bundle of Winter's Expansion with the base game, will be released simultaneously. The release date is planned for October 28th, 2022.
Located baby eagle. Spot to vacation, eh?
You will receive our most sacred body. It begins now.
Forget what happened that night. The pain. Even for a second. This
time, it can be different. It has to.
Hi everyone, I'm Yasuhiro Anpo, director of Resident Evil 4.
And I'm Yoshiaki Hirabayashi, producer of Resident Evil 4. This title is a reimagining of Resident Evil 4, based on the original 2005 release. Similar to other titles in the series, we are carefully preserving what makes the original title special, while updating it with modern flourishes for everyone to enjoy when it launches in 2023. Today, we'll reintroduce a bit of the game's story.
Resident Evil 4 is set 6 years after the events in Raccoon City, depicted in Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3. The main character of the game, Leon S. Kennedy, survived the Raccoon City incident and was assigned as an agent directly under the President of the United States. Leon is dispatched to a quiet village in Europe as part of a mission to rescue the kidnapped daughter of the President. You might notice Leon is much more mature and fearless due to his past experiences. The Ganado, the main enemies of this game, wait for him. The experience of being attacked by hordes of crazed Ganado is truly an iconic moment from Resident Evil. In order to truly bring out the concept of terror of people controlled by madness, the Ganado have been completely redesigned.
Let's take a closer look at the game itself.
The over-the-shoulder camera returns, of course. Leon arrives at a dense and dangerous forest. We want to nail the feeling of loneliness and fear of not knowing what lies ahead, even more so than the original. Of course, there will also be thrilling battles. People that played the recent Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 should find this familiar. Look forward to future announcements, where we'll have more information on the game.
Resident Evil 4 is being developed for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Series S, and PC. The release date will be March 24th, 2023.
We are aiming to create a Resident Evil 4 that everyone can enjoy, so please look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Long gone cold. Under the mountain of Durin's folk. A shadow took our treasure's halls. Now it calls us back. Kazan-Doom. More legends are joining. More stories will be told.
Anyone can change the course of the future.
Don't look at us. The precious is gone.
Fire has a long